Hello everyone, Tina here. I hope your day is going fantastic. Thanks so much for joining me. Today I'm going to share a project with you for Newton's Nook Designs using a brand new stamp set that's coming soon. It's going to be available at the Newton's Nook Design shop on Friday. This is day 2 of the release week. And so if you missed day 1, I'll leave the Newton's Nook Designs blog down below. There's giveaways, so guys, check out the blog. All you have to do just to enter the giveaway is basically leave a comment. So it's super easy to do, and there's lots of inspiration using this stamp set today. This here is called Neigh. It's a 4x6 stamp set, and there are coordinating dies available, or the option for them available, and it's cute little horse images. So adorable. There's one sentiment in here that's buildable. It says galloping by, and then there's an option to add with a birthday wish or to say howdy. How cute is that? There's also a sentiment that says whoa, and there's a sentiment that says you're how old? And then for our card today, we're going to use a sentiment that says hope you're back in the saddle soon. So we're going to jump in and do some stamping. There's a horse that's facing you. There's a horse that's facing not facing you, and there's a whole side profile of a horse. So cute little images. I chose the one that was facing me. I'm going to stamp that with Memento ink, and then also the little horseshoe we'll stamp a couple times with Memento ink too. I'm stamping on Nita 80-pound cardstock because it is alcohol marker friendly, and I'm going to color in my horse and my horseshoes with my Copic markers. I started to leave the coloring in, and I thought I'd save a little bit of time and just finished it off camera, which was kind of a good thing because my camera was a little bit blurry, you can see here. But I did use the coordinating dies and just die cut them out. So this is what she looked like. And you know what? If you want to use know the colors that I use, guys, I'll link the colors on my blog post too down below. But there's my little images. I think you can see better now that I zoomed out a bit. I'm going to go ahead and set these aside, and we are going to work on our background panel. I thought we would create a little country background with some mountains. So we're going to create a scene using a stencil from Newton's Nook Designs called Mountains. This is really neat. I'm going to use some white cardstock and my Distress Oxide ink to create my mountains here. I'm going to go ahead and add my stencil, and I thought using vintage photo first would be good, but then I thought it might be a little bit dark. So I actually tapped a little bit of ink on the stencil, and then I'm going to bring in my antique linen and color in my mountains with this ink. And when I did that, I pulled down some of that vintage photo to my mountains, and I loved it. It actually gave me some depth and dimension. So I did the same thing with the other mountain. I added a little bit more of that vintage photo to the very tips of it, and you can see it kind of gives it a little bit of depth. I thought that was super neat. A happy accident. I'm going to go ahead and do one more layer of mountains. And if I have too much white area, I'm just going to use my blending tool and go over it. And on the very bottom of the stencil, there's also some hills. Or I'm not going to use it as hills. I'm actually going to use it as a ground for my horse here. So we're going to create some dirt with this using vintage photo. I added that to the very bottom. Now I love browns and blues together, so we're going to bring in a blue sky. I'm using my tumbled glass for the sky here. I'm going to go heavy towards the top and kind of blend lightly down towards my mountains, kind of overlapping them just a little bit, filling in my background. And I love browns and blues together. I think it's just a great color combination. Okay, once I'm happy with this, we're going to add a little bit of texture by spraying it with some water. Using my water bottle, we'll just add some water droplets. And then we'll use a towel to dab off the excess water. And then eventually we're going to die cut out a panel with this white cardstock, but it was a little too damp. So I'm going to use my heat gun and dry my panel. Once this is dry, I'm going to use the framework die set. There's 5 dies in here. I'm going to use the middle one. This is like a reversed scallop frame. It's really pretty. I'm going to tape this down to an area on my panel that I'm happy with the scene. And then for my background behind here, I thought we'd bring in an embossing folder. This is a wood grain embossing folder that I've had forever. And I'm just taking a panel that measures 4 inches by 5 1/4, and I'm going to run both of these through my die cut machine, embossing my background here and then die cutting out my frame. So once I got all that done, we're going to stamp our sentiment on the inside panel of our frame here. Again, I chose the sentiment that says, "Hope you're back in the saddle soon." And I was trying to show you my texture with the wood grain, but the camera wasn't letting me do that. I'm having issues with the camera today, but that's okay. I stamped my sentiment with my VersaFine Onyx black ink up in the top left corner here. And we're going to go ahead and tape down our background panel to our card base. Now, since there's so much texture on here, I decided to use double-sided adhesive tape to adhere it, just so it stays put. I thought it'd be a little bit more stronger than my tape runner. I'm going to keep it white. I like the texture it has here. Okay, next I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to eventually add foam adhesive behind my frame, but before we do that, I added tape behind the inside panel. I lined it up straight and kind of fit it like a puzzle piece. So this way my inside panel is centered, and all I have to do is add foam adhesive and place my frame back in its home, but this time my frame has a little bit of dimension. Okay, I think it looks very pretty. Next, I'm going to bring in some twine. This is just natural twine. I'm going to wrap it around and tie a bow to the left. And normally when I do my bows with ribbon, I like to tuck my twine underneath my panels. But today I thought we'd do a little something different and put it on the outside. I'm going to go ahead, and I already added foam adhesive behind my horse. I'm going to place him kind of over the frame on the right side here, and then you can see I looped both of my horseshoes together so they're kind of crisscrossed together, and then I tacked that down right next to my little horse here. Now I'm still fiddling with the bow, and sometimes I fiddle with my card when I'm not happy with the placement. I keep adding things until I'm happy. I added my shimmer to the mane of my horse, and then I'm also going to add some stars. It's not a birthday card, but I always associated southwestern scenes with stars, so I want to add just 3 of them. And they're kind of iridescent, so they're not bold, but I like the stars with the twine. I just think it looks southwesterny. I'm going to glue down my stars, and after I did this, it still wasn't flowing around. You know, I didn't like my twine kind of interrupting my background scene. It was covering my horseshoes, and I didn't like. Maybe that's what was wrong with my card here. So we're gonna kind of fix that carefully. I'm gonna carefully lift up my horse, take him off of my card base here, and I'm also gonna slide down my twine just below my frame and my background scene, and I'm gonna carefully lift up my frame and my background panel. Now my frame has foam adhesive, and that's what I was worried about sticking, but I actually, since there's texture on my background, I think it helped. I was able to lift it up. I am gonna have to shift over my bow about maybe 1/2 of an inch from my frame, so it's not in the way there, and then I'll just tack down my background panel and then readjust the foam piece here, and then tack down my frame, kind of lift up my horseshoes here, adjust my bow a little bit more, and I think I'm going to be happy. This is how I should have did it to begin with, I think, but you never know until you try, right? I do this with cupcake recipes all the time. Okay, I'm going to re-adhere my horse, and I'm happy with this outcome. I think the bow looks better underneath my little scene. But I encourage you guys to join in the fun. I'll have a little piece lifting up on my background. I'm going to use some glue to secure it down. But I'll leave Newton's Nook Designs blog down below if you guys want to join. There's lots of inspiration from yesterday and today, and all week long. Actually, I encourage you guys to join Newton's Nook Designs all week long. There's some reveals and release, and this is day 2, so we have day 3 and day 4, and day 5 the release goes live. Have a fabulous day. Thank you so much for joining me. I will see you again real soon. Bye bye.